Good morning, Year 5-6. Welcome to math lesson for Monday, the 1st of February. We'll start with some arithmetic questions again. A few more this time, so 8 questions. Again, so don't spend too long on them, so about 8 minutes this time. If it's taking you longer than that, stop, move on. Just start with the ones you can do and leave any that you're finding a little bit difficult. Time, give them a go as well. So pause the video now and have a go at these. Okay, and then check your answers, see how you did. Pause the video again. Okay, so learning today then, we are going to be looking at adding and subtracting decimals this week. So today we're going to start with adding decimals to a different number of decimal places. What that means is there's a different number of digits after the decimal point. So we would say this number 1.3 is a number with one decimal place because it's got one digit after the decimal point. 3.52, we say that has two decimal places because it's got two digits after the decimal point. So when it's talking about the number of decimal places, it's talking about the number of digits after the decimal point. When we're adding and subtracting decimal numbers, the most important thing we need to remember is to line up the decimal point, writing the numbers in that column method which we're using. If you manage to do that, it means that we're not going to make any mistakes with our addition and subtraction because we'll have all the correct place values lined up with each other. It means we'll have the ones and the ones lined up from both numbers. The tenths will be lined up with the tenths, hundredths with the hundredths, and tens and hundreds, or whatever we're adding or subtracting. All the different values will be lined up correctly with each other. The way to do that is to make sure that the decimal point is lined up first, and then you could think about the rest of the digits in the number after that. Okay, so if we think about this addition that which we're doing, so 1.3 add 3.52. So use a place value chart. We've got 1.3, and then we've got 3.5 tenths, 200. So if we're working that out, we start with the furthest column to the right as usual. So we've got nothing here. So that doesn't mean we don't have a 0 there, but there is nothing there. So effectively, we could say that there is a 0 there. 0 add 2 means we've got 2 thousandths. 5 tenths add 3 tenths. Tenths in that answer as well, and 3 add 1. Okay, so we don't need 0, but we could add it to help us. So particularly with subtraction, it's going to be even more important that we put this 0 in when it's needed. That doesn't change the number. It is still 1.3, not 1.30. It's not 1.30. It is still just 1.3. The way we can think about why putting a 0 there doesn't change anything is if you're writing the number 2, if you were to write 02, that is still the number 2. Even though it has a 0 before it in the tens column, it is still just 2, and you would say that number is 2. And even if you wrote this as an answer, let's say you had a question which was 1 plus 1, and you wrote 02, it would be correct. This represents the number 2. And even if you put another 0 in front of it, 0 in the tens, 0 in the hundreds, 0 in the tens, 2 in the ones, that's still the number 2. However many zeros I put in front of this number, it doesn't change the number. It is still just 2. The same applies when I'm looking at decimal numbers. I could add any number of zeros after here, after the 3. As long as there isn't another value along here anywhere, which is more than 0, then the zeros don't mean anything. It will still just be 1.3. Okay? So let's look at another example. So this time we've got 4.4 add 7.04. So if I think about my place value chart, I've got 0 thousandths add 4 thousandths. So that's going to be thousandths. I've got 0 hundredths, add 4 hundredths there. And then I've got 4 tenths, add 0 tenths, point, and then I've got 7, add 4, or add 7. That is going to be, and my answer is 11.44. So again, I could think that I've got zeros here. Doesn't change the number, it is still 4.4, but we can think about adding these zeros to help us. Okay, what you could do is pause the video and have a go at this question, then we'll talk about it afterwards. So pause, have a go, talk about. Okay, so with this question, we've got 4.42, add 1.6. So again, I'm going to start with the furthest column to the right. So I've got 2 hundredths, add nothing. So 2, going to give me 2. Okay. Now, this time, I've got 4 tenths, add 6 tenths. So 4 add 6, so I know is going to be 10. So I'm not going to put 10 in here because 10 tenths is the same as 1. So we need to exchange these 10 because we think about learning last week for the year 5s. We've got 10 in a column. We need to exchange that for the next value up. So I've got 6 here, 4 here, which makes 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm exchanging all of those for another 1. 10 tenths is the same as 1 whole. So I've added those together, which means I now have enough for another 1 here. This is where our exchanging comes in. So I've got 1 down here, which I'm going to include as 6 and 4, making the 10. Point. And then I've got the 4, add the 1, and add the other 1 I just added. 6. So 6.02. Now I know that some of you are going to be really comfortable with this already, and you probably won't need to do all the silver questions. So maybe just do 1 or 2 silver questions and then move straight onto the gold platinum questions and make sure you get those done. If you're not too sure, then make sure you do a few more silver questions just so you're feeling really comfortable with what you're trying to do and making sure you're lining up those columns correctly. Let you decide that. So if you're going to do the silver questions now, you need to pause the video, and then we'll look at the answers in a moment. Okay, and here are your answers to check. Then we'll look at the gold questions. So with the gold questions, Philip is adding 2 numbers together. He writes it as a column. What mistake has he made? See if you could explain what mistake he's made. Really focus on your use of the vocabulary, using the correct terminology to explain what mistake he has made. Then use the column method to work out the correct answer. With this one, Eva's trying to work out this question, but again, what mistake has she made, and work out the correct answer. And then we've got a problem to solve here as well. So pause the video and have a go at these questions. Okay, and we'll look at the answers. So he hasn't correctly lined up his numbers in the column. Hopefully you got 15.75 as the answer. And again, the same problem, the digits are lined up incorrectly. You need to line up the decimal point. Then the correct answer should have been 5.54. And then with this one, the answer should have been 176.1. Okay, moving on to the platinum questions. So with this one, work out the missing digits. And then the total mass of the 2 boxes is 10.85 kilograms. What could the mass of each box be? So there's loads of different answers you can have for this one. How many you can find, write them all down. And then this one, 8.5 add 14.7 equals 10.2 add what? You've got to try and balance it out. So pause the video and have a go at these ones. Okay, so here's your answer for this question 13, and I'll see you tomorrow with some subtracting.